see you again. I hope you enjoyed my last few videos. I didn't upload yesterday because I was busy, and so I'm just going to make up for it today, and I'm going to do this video, and then I'm going to do the quiz video. Now, so today's video, as you can see by the title, is about Alex Ovechkin. He's probably one of the most exciting players to talk about and watch, and there's a lot of questions looming over his future, and not as much over his legacy anymore thanks to getting his Stanley Cup. But he is 35 years old now, and the questions every year come, especially him being in his last year of his contract. The questions start rising about what's his next step and how many more years is he going to play. Now, Ovechkin made it completely clear that he only wants to play for the Washington Capitals in the NHL. He's played with them for 15 seasons. He was the first pick in 2004, and he does not want to go anywhere. I personally think it would be extremely strange to see him in any other NHL jersey. You know, you've seen like those photoshops of him and other ones, but I think even before he said this, I had no thoughts or anything of him going to any other team or wanting to. Especially, he's shown a lot of loyalty throughout the years through the Capitals, even years where they didn't make the playoffs, which were kind of far and few between. And definitely for all the playoff upsets that they had, he could have easily demanded a trade, and I don't think anyone would have had a problem wanting to trade for his contract. I think any team would have jumped at the opportunity for it, but he showed that he was sticking in Washington. So, an article that came up was that Ovechkin wants, when everything is finished with the NHL, he wants to end his career back in Russia with Dynamo Moscow. He's played for them when he was an underager. That's where he played. And he went there during the lockout seasons. And it's one of the most prolific, famous, and historic teams in Russia. So it's fitting that he wants to end it that way. He said he wants his last match to be with Dynamo. So I don't know if that means that after he's finished in the NHL that he's going to sign an entire one-year contract or something with Dynamo. I would think maybe it would be more of a symbolic thing if he was to suit up for them for a game or two. But there's no doubt that just because he decides that he's not fit for the NHL or that he's finished, that he couldn't shine over there. It wouldn't surprise me to see a 40-year-old Alex Ovechkin scoring 30 goals in the Russian league. Ovechkin is in a unique contract. Even though it's in his last year, it was a 13-year, $124 million contract. Now, under the new CBA that was negotiated after the 2012-13 lockout, you are not allowed to sign players to 13-year deals anymore. The maximum allowed is if you're drafted by the team, when you hit free agency, or when you negotiate a contract, you're allowed 8 years by the team that drafted you, and 7 by any other team. So he, like I said, any other team would have wanted to trade for him, probably in the middle of that contract, but he was in a very unique double of what any other contract length could be. And he's expiring off it. And another player that's currently on a very long contract, 2 of them actually, is Ryan Suter and Shea Weber. They both signed very long contracts, over 10 years, and those don't exist anymore, obviously. Now, as of filming, he has 706 goals right now, and that is good for 8th all-time. I believe, looking at the numbers, that he has a real shot at catching Gretzky. Assuming that he plays till he's 40, and assuming that he can keep up scoring, he's either going to get extremely close or pass him by a little. That's what I think. He's only 188 goals behind Gretzky. When you look at Gretzky's total, you think it's not going to be touched, but when you look that Ovechkin's under 200 away, it becomes a little bit more realistic, because thinking back a couple seasons, I remember when Ovechkin scored his 500th and 600th, and all of a sudden, this year he scores his 700th. Within 2 seasons, he could probably have his 800th. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Now, it's all about keeping up his consistency and watching out how hard he can decline. I don't think that he's going to have as hard of a decline as a lot of other players because he doesn't rely on his athleticism and agility as much as, say, like a Connor McDavid would, or like how Mario Lemieux was, and he slowed down in the end. Ovechkin is about power. If he can keep that upper body strength and still hit the puck just as hard, there's no way you're not going to score 30 goals a year. And if you are given the opportunity and you're given all the power play time and you're on a good Capitals team, I don't see why he couldn't score 40 in his last year. And people wonder why he retired on top when he could have maybe in the end thinking he could have got to 900 goals. And that's what he's going to need to be approaching. 894, he's going to need 895. So he is going to have to get close to that 900 goal plateau, which is absolutely crazy to even talk about. Ovechkin has scored 50 goals 8 times. And that is one season. That is one season of scoring 50 goals behind Gretzky and Bossy. So if he can do it again, he'll tie them, which is absolutely elite company to think that this guy that we're watching play all the time is that caliber of goal scorer. Which is, I think a lot of people took Ovechkin for granted. I think I used to. I used to really like Crosby as when I was younger and think he was the best, and then I saw Ovechkin and he was an easy guy to hate on. But I'm really making an effort to be looking at it in a way of saying we are very lucky to be watching this caliber of player come out, because he is going to be the comparable. And what I mean by that is when drafts come up in the coming years, whether it's 10, 20, 30, 40 years away, they are going to be able to use Alex Ovechkin as their staple and say this guy is going to be like Alex Ovechkin, and they're going to know what that means and what type of power are behind those words. If Ovechkin scores 900 goals in his career, you're going to be, if you say this kid could be like Ovechkin, you know that he's probably a generational goal scorer. Now again, we'll come back to realistically, can Ovechkin pass Gretzky? What's going to have to happen? He's going to have a couple more 45-goal seasons, probably a 50. He's going to have to stay healthy, and the Capitals are going to have to be good for those years. Those are the things that are going to have to go right, and I think when he says, like he said in the article, that he has some things that he wants to accomplish, I think Gretzky's goal record is the last thing that he wants to accomplish. He would love another Stanley Cup. That was the thing he was chasing, but now he could focus on this final accolade and something that would cement him into NHL history. And the record books, no doubt about it. When can we realistically see a decline? I think we have, but not in the goal scoring aspect. If you look back at like 2008 to 2010 Ovechkin, that was the guy that tried hitting everything that moved, was a lot more agile and athletic, he was a lot more young. He was younger, right? Ovechkin now still has the exact same goal scoring touch that he had. He could explode for 60 goals on any given season. There's nothing that is stopping him from doing that. He does things every night that you still say, wow. He is 35 years old, like we said. A 35-year-old playing against 18-year-olds and elite 20s. He's not going to have the same advantage that he did when he was in his young 20s. So I don't think it's a matter of when he'll decline. I think it's, will his shot decline? And will that be the thing that can carry him into his 40s, possibly playing at an elite goal-scoring level? Now, what will it mean for hockey if he passes Gretzky? He will be, again, I'm going to say it again, the word staple of goal-scoring for the next 50-plus years. Unless another player comes along that is as consistent at scoring goals as Alex Ovechkin is, he will be the guy that will be looked at in goals as Gretzky was, but also he will be looked at as the guy in goals in the way that Gretzky's point record is. Untouchable. Until further notice. That is something that's important that I always like to say. We don't know how the game's going to change, and we don't know how good players are going to get. An absolute physical, athletic anomaly could come along as a person and shatter records and make them look like they were the tiniest things. And I don't ever like to say that records are unbreakable. I think these players take it as a challenge. And until there's a player that will come along and challenge Ovechkin with that consistency that he shows, he is going to be the person that you look at up there with Gretzky in that category. Alright, so that's my breakdown of what I think Alex Ovechkin can do and what he can accomplish in his next few years. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was really a fun one to look at. Again, I just saw an article and got the idea. Really puts things into perspective, and I really hope everyone can appreciate Ovechkin for what he is and what he's accomplished and what he can accomplish. So, thanks everyone for coming by. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.